Hi guys. Hello guys.
Hello. It's been so long since you heard our voice. People are dying right now. Like they're screaming. They're like, oh my God.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. They're singing.
I apologize because this is a brand. So what one person does unfortunately affects how you see the other person. But
anyway,
I'm here
hello,
to tell you
guys.
that's not how I am.
Wow. Hello, guys.
Hey guys. Welcome
How y'all
back.
doing? How y'all doing?
I hope you've missed us.
They have.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, it's been great. It's been good. We are back with another episode. This is episode what? Episode 12.
Not like we're counting, but you know.
I know. Who's counting? That's true.
But this is episode 12 regardless.
So yeah, you can still listen to 11 episodes. So we haven't gone that far.
We haven't gone that far, but we are moving. We are
moving. It's like it's a lot, but it's not too much not to be able to listen to everything. So
wow. Kudos to us, if I do say so myself.
You know.
Anyway, Ebun, what have you been up to?
What have I been up to?
And keep it brief. Keep it short.
Keep
it brief and short.
It's been 3 weeks.
Ebun, has it really been 3 weeks?
It's been 3 weeks.
Are we really letting people know the timeline? It hasn't been 3 weeks, guys.
Oh my God, it's been 3 weeks.
But it's been a while.
So what have I been up to?
Mm-hmm.
In 3 weeks, I've traveled twice. One for work, one for a trip, a vacation trip. We were in New Orleans together. I'm sure everybody has seen it on social media. So, and then we spent 5 days, I think, in New Orleans. Came back, and then after New Orleans, my birthday was the day we came back.
Birthday, baby.
And if you're wondering how old I am, I'm going by the age that one of my colleagues told me during my work trip. We were, asking, we were doing the guess what age this person is game, and somebody said sub 25. I'm like, okay, like what age specifically would you say I am? The person said I'm 22, so that's my new age.
I love that for you.
If you don't like it, argue with your phone. Argue with
I love
whatever.
that for you.
But yeah, cheers to being 22. It's
22.
been amazing. It's been amazing. So there you go, guys.
Okay.
And then it was really cool. I had an amazing birthday, by the way.
You're welcome.
Oh God. So we came back on the 28th. My birthday was on the 29th. So I think I'm buying into this peaceful, like do all the, party create like
before
all this thing before, but on the birthday, just I've done it for
chilled.
2 years now, and it's been really cool. I slept well. I think I took some calls in the night for my Nigerian people that
They called you before your real birthday.
Nigerian time. That was cool, but there was no pressure to wake up early, so I was just there, and then
Your birthday wasn't a Friday now.
No, it was on a Wednesday. Sorry, Friday. It was on a Wednesday.
It was okay off.
Yes, I took the day off. Yeah, I took the day off. I took the whole week off, in fact, because I can.
That's
That's what the 22-year-old does. Gen Zs. That's how we be playing.
That's not what they don't talk like that.
I don't care. That's how we talk. You're not Gen Z. That's why. And then I woke up this week and everybody has been saying steez. I said, hey, which one is steez again?
Do you know that my sister literally sent that message on our group chat? Like, damn it. She was like, please, wait till be steez.
I was going to put on my status today. I'm like, I just woke up that day. So somebody said, I saw steez. I said, okay, maybe, another person I saw steez. And I was like, wait, roll up. Like, I didn't get the memo.
Oh God, but you're not Gen Z. That's why you didn't get the memo.
I'm a 22-year-old.
If you're a true Gen Z, you will be one of the founders of Steez.
Who told you there's a Gen Z that founded Steez?
I'm pretty sure it's part of their lingo.
But yeah. Well, my birthday was awesome. 2 calls. We went get Starbucks, had a nice dinner, got flowers, got gifts. I think I got some gifts this year.
You say you got more gifts this year than you did last year.
Maybe I did. Well, so last year I graduated last year too. So I got gifts for graduation too. So
at the same time.
Yeah, it was almost at the same time. So I couldn't I don't know. For my birthday,
Was it
maybe
really
not
at the
that
same
much.
time?
Well, I mean, I was
Graduated
still
early in the
getting,
month now. Okay, well,
but I
you're
was
still
still
getting
getting
things
gifts,
after.
like
Okay,
people
makes
saying,
sense.
"Oh, happy graduation" and whatnot.
Nice,
So,
nice.
but yeah, that's it. And then obviously my movie of the week. Okay, well, let me ask you how your week is
No. Go on, go
before I
ahead.
talk about my movie
Because
of the
I'll talk
week.
about my own movie of the week. Talk
As
about
you all
your
know. Okay, so yeah, what have you been up to?
me as a recent graduate, as somebody who has recently graduated and I don't have to read books anymore,
Okay.
I've been chilling. I also traveled as well. I was one of the members of the trip she talked about.
So one of the members.
But yeah, it was a fun trip. We spent like 5 days. But other than that, I think I've just been like, and I think I've done a lot more catching up with people during this period, because now it's like you're free, and a lot of folks were also leaving like Athens, like leaving school and everything. So you're just talking to somebody and you're like, oh yeah, when are you finally? Everything is like, oh, I'm leaving next tomorrow. You're like, tomorrow we have to see. So I was doing a lot of catching up with people before they left, like to wherever their destination is post study. So I've actually been doing a lot of going out. You know how you say this thing of, oh, once I graduate or once I'm done with exams or whatever, I'll just lie down. And I did part of that, but I feel like I've been going out a lot as well.
Nice.
Then I've also been I'm also a new driver, so I've been practicing how to drive better. Like I've passed my like test and everything, but I just want to feel more confident on the road. So I've been doing a lot more like practice, going longer distances and things like that. So that has been cool. Then basically just that. And we had like a vacation which was really fun, and I'm sure people have seen the pictures. I actually need to change and actually post pictures on social media. But I don't know. I don't know why I just don't. Well, I'll inspire myself and encourage myself to do that. But other than that, I think I've just been very relaxed. Then, just thinking about some other things that are coming up right now, and just like kind of quote unquote preparing for them in advance, right? And I've been doing a lot of binge movie watching. Me and Ebun don't have the same taste in movies.
I'm proud of you. Yeah, obviously. Like,
me and Ebun don't have the same taste in movies, so I've been catching up with all the Korean dramas that I haven't been able to watch. Do you know that there was literally a day that I used 2 days to watch one? And K-dramas are not short. They're like 1 hour per episode. I literally finished an entire like imagine just finding out the K-drama now. I finished it in like 2 days. There was another one, actually there's one that is ending this weekend. So because the thing was coming out weekly, I'm like, it's just 2 episodes. No, I think it was last weekend I was watching it. And I was like, I watched the one on Saturday and they left it on a cliffhanger. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this to myself, because I know the finale episodes are coming up. I'm like, let me just wait till this weekend. Then I can just watch everything on time. So I've caught up with so by the time I watched that one, I would have finished 3 complete K-dramas over the period of like 1 week and a half. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And recommendations, I watched Queen of Tears. Really, really interesting. You will cry a lot, actually. I watched Lovely Runner. Really, really interesting, but you also cry a lot. Not a lot, but you cry, because as long as you're not able, you cry.
wow.
Then number 3, The Atypical Family. So you can watch Queen of Tears and The Atypical Family on Netflix. Then Lovely Runner. Find out where you're going to watch it.
Where did you watch it?
Where did I watch it? I can't say it on this podcast.
Wow. God, that beg go. Hey.
I watched it on Viki. Viki, you can get it. You can watch the first 2 episodes free on their app. Then after that, you have to sort yourself out.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
At least now we know. We know what some people do.
So, what's your own movie of the week?
Yeah. So my movie of the week, On the Basis of Sex. That's the name of the movie.
On the Basis of
Sex.
Is it on Netflix?
Yes, it is. On the Basis of Sex. That's the movie. That movie is amazing. Again, you already know. I love true life stories. I love movies, documentaries, things that are real.
So what's the premise of the story?
Basically, so it was a woman that fought for her place, basically, in law, so to speak. So apparently at that time, Harvard Law School.
What period was this set? Was this like...
It was like 19 something.
Okay.
I think 1930, 1940, 1950s. I have to confirm that. But yeah, it wasn't so long ago actually that women had no place in the society for certain things. So there was this this woman who fought. And I watched with Yadu was here because I think Yadu watched a lot of movies because of me. She was just like, don't worry.
No, you can't. Yadu actually doesn't like watching movies, but you can grab her. Like she'll watch it if she's.
And then we're both screaming together. I mean, we watched some stupid movies before then, so when we now saw it, we're like, finally. So, but I think my favorite part of that movie is the family support. So, and I was discussing with someone earlier in the week, and I said Nollywood and Hollywood don't do a good story, don't do a good job in portraying a good family home. In what sense? A supportive husband / actually a supportive husband. Let me not be diplomatic about it. You almost always see a supportive wife for a husband. A wife being a good wife, doing all those stuff. Maybe the husband will now be someone that does not even have sense or whatever. But like seeing how it played out the other way and being a real life story really inspired me. So I don't want to give any spoilers. You can watch the movie, but the guy had cancer and he beat the cancer. At the end of the story, I
thought you said you're not giving spoilers.
I mean, it's not you. If you read this thing, you see it, but that's not the major story. Trust me, the cancer part is not the major story. At the end, the marriage was for 56 years. They were married for 56 years for someone who had cancer earlier.
Okay.
And I'm saying that he lived a long life, like for someone who had cancer and beat it, and was still married for 56 years. And I'm just telling myself that, when you have a good family, when you have a good home, you have like a supportive husband or a supportive wife. Yeah. Except God wants you to die. Except God actually, as in for real. Except God wants you to end your life early
to pass. Yeah,
you would live long. That's the truth. And I'm like, anyway.
I think this is a very interesting topic, and it's even something we can shed more light on. Especially when you talk about the fact that Hollywood and Nollywood don't do a good story of portraying like supportive husbands and all of that. And again, with like Father's Day coming up, there was even something I was going to talk about, which is probably going to lead into the topic we're talking about. Like I'm on X a lot, and I remember that, last month was like, I think there's a last month was a mental health awareness month, and somebody posted on Twitter, and the person was like, people don't really like men, nobody's really appreciating them on their month. Like I think it was June is kind of like men's month because it's of Father's Day, and the person was saying that nobody's really appreciating, like when it's women's month March, everybody's all about girl power, women are the best and everything, and when it comes to men's month, nobody supports themselves, and people were like changing it for the gun. They were like, even you as men, you don't support yourselves. Like people, when it's women's month, women gas themselves up like, oh, you are the best, you are this, they hype themselves up and everything. But when it comes to men, you even pull yourselves down. Like if you see a man being like emotional or being supportive or whatever, people start like maybe trolling you and saying, oh, why are you weak? Why are you this? Why is
weakling?
There is something I saw recently online. I don't even know the full story about it, but there's a particular person, I think his name is Bon B or something. So I think him and his wife, there was an home invasion in their home. And I think the woman was the one that was attacked by the robber. I don't know if she was actually attacked, but I know a gun was like placed and she was traumatized about it. So I was watching like just a clip I saw online, and the man was literally talking about, his wife didn't deserve to go through that kind of situation. That when she went through, like after the whole situation was through and she was back in the house in that same position that the burglar saw her, she had like that post-traumatic stress, like she was so traumatized that she couldn't move. So the man was like almost crying on the court stand, and he was saying she didn't deserve to go through this, blah 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 blah. People in the comments were saying, why is he snitching? As in, I was not wondering like, what does he even have to do with anything? So I don't even know the man's background before, but I was just like, even if he's on the code of, oh, you don't snitch, blah blah blah, this is your wife that was attacked. Like you were attacked in your home. Your wife can literally not be in your home any longer because she always has like memories of that event, and people in the comment section saying, why is this snitching? I'm like, so people, somebody used that as an example to say that this is why people don't quote unquote rate you people when you talk, because you like men don't even generally help other men. Things like that. But that's even something we can explore.
And it's a stereotype issue. It's like once you're a guy, there are some things
you have to be cold. You have to be.
Again, look, this movie, watch it. This is Men's Month. Watch it. If you're a guy, you want to support your woman, watch it. Like imagine in an era where women were not rated, and a guy standing up for,
that's very hard,
for like his wife, in the midst of, imagine your professors saying, oh, she belongs to the kitchen or whatever, like, to the smartest, like, number one, he recognized that, look, I don't marry just anybody. I married a star. And number two, he was like fully ready to support like whatever it takes, even when he wasn't looking like it. So, and I mean, it was also vice versa, because I mentioned he had cancer, and
she was also there for him.
Like, if you, I don't want to give any spoilers. If you see what she actually did for him, trust me, in my head, I will tell you, and I'm like, this guy is indebted to his woman for life. But unfortunately, that's not even what happens in today's world. You see women literally laying down their life for guys, and some guys just like treat it like bullshit. So, I mean, I love that movie. If you have time, watch it with your spouse, watch it with. I want to see, families again. Family is very important, because that's like the basic unit of life. So once the family is right, then a lot of issues that we're having in society wouldn't even be. So, but that was a really beautiful one. Like 56 years. Wow, nice.
56 years is a long time, man. Like, how old are they now? Are they still alive?
No, I think the husband died in 2010, and the wife died, I think, recently, some few years back. So, but they showed her at the last part of the movie.
Before you continue your next recommendation, I just remembered something that came up. And I always have all these stories, because I'm almost chronically online. I always like reading all these like people's stories and things like that. And I saw one recently, and the lady talked about, this one was on Reddit. So on Reddit, when you're writing your stories, you always like put your age and your gender in brackets so people can understand each other's perspectives. And this lady was talking about how her husband, is he a husband? Her husband, 53 years old male, impregnated a maybe 19 or 20, so somebody really young, like the age gap is very young. And then the lady ran away, like she didn't want to have the baby, blah blah blah, she ran away. And now obviously the woman was not really bothered, because I think she forgave the guy, but she was like, I don't want to have anything to do with raising a child, because all our kids are literally grown up and they're out of the house. So the man was the one that was, taking care of the child and everything. Then something happened. I think whether he had a stroke or he had cancer or something, and the man became like immobile and inactive. And she called the
22.
So the 22-year-old, she knows the family, but the lady is not around. The 22-year-old herself is not around. She's not called the family that come and take this child, because I will not be caring for this child, or I will call child protective services. And she was like, you have 48 hours, because she's like, my kids are grown, I should not be doing, and I don't need grandkids, like she should not be doing all this. So she now said that when she was narrating the story, she now said that when those grandparents now came to pick up the children, they were now saying that she was a very insensitive person, that why can't she not, what has the child done to her, that she's not supposed to take out her anger on the husband, on the child and everything. So she was not writing there that is she being insensitive, or because she thinks she's right for saying she should not take care of the child. But what should she say? And people were really saying that at this point, somebody commented and said that people always feel the need to say that women should be the one to support the men when they've made a mess. So I think what was even the kicker in it was that she also called like her children as well, and she wanted to divorce her husband, because at that point it's like, you've already done this thing to me, I forgive you, and now you're even still trying to mess up more. And she's like, I'm done with you, like I want to get divorced and everything. And the kids were now like, oh, don't divorce him now, like take care of him. She's like, no, you can come and take care of him by yourself and take care of the child. Like, and the two children said no, they don't want to, but you want the mother, you want her as the mother to take care of the child. So she was just asking that, is she being like wrong, blah blah blah. And I'm like, see, sister, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, because so somebody commented and was like, when quote unquote men make a mess, they always want the woman to like, oh, support him. But if the roles were reversed,
would you do the same?
Yeah. So and I'm like, so that's just one thing I wanted to say concerning the whole supporting, and it's not actually the easiest thing, especially when you find that when people mess up. So this is even a situation of maybe they didn't even mess up. This is like standing in the face of like other people in adversity and all of that. But they always want you to support when somebody has messed up. It's not always the easiest thing. It's not always the easiest thing. That's just the truth. Yeah.
Number one, anyway, this is another topic in there. Don't even mess up. Like,
don't mess up. Oh, God will give us strength. God will give us grace.
Honestly,
God will favor us that we will find the right partners and we'll make the best decisions for ourselves.
Amen.
Because
and just what you said now, I was talking to Tunchi earlier in the week, and we're talking about, I told you about the movie Ashley Madison, and I told you about the Christian couple that were whose name was found, you know, during the conference. They were like, so you two, you're on the page. Meanwhile, Ashley Madison is mind blowing, guys. Like, I still can't wrap my head around everything that happened. I didn't want to call out their name because I feel like I'm even giving them more publicity, but whatever. Like, if you watch the movie, take whatever you want to take from it. That's the thing. So my own is, and then so I was starting to share that, you know, when I was watching that movie, and because when I hear some stories about, you know, a guy went out and the, you know, guy maybe cheated on the wife or whatever, I'm always like very quick to say, like, number one, do it. Like,
don't even do it.
Like, I don't even know how to express it. But I'm like, why did you
don't mess up at all?
Why did you even start doing it? And then I felt the Holy Spirit tell me that let every man take it. Let every man take it, lest it fall. And in that instance, it's not saying, oh, it could have been you. It's saying that make sure that you are praying for yourself, for your future self, for your future spouse, such that you will not even find yourself in that situation. And then, you know, now in my mind, when I hear stories like that, of course, if God forbid, and I've always said it, if I'm in a relationship and someone does that thing, then it's over. Like, I'm in a relationship, boy, we're not even married, so boy, bye.
Yeah.
But for people that are married, it's a different thing entirely. And again, I'm not there, and I don't want to say anything about that. But my own is, make sure you are praying, really, because when you hear, you know, some stories like this, you know, Christian couple, like when I heard this, I was like, so it was just from an ad, like an ad popped up on the computer, and the slogan was, "Life is too short, have an affair." You know, out of curiosity, you're like,
what kind of thing is this? Yeah, you might be mocking it. Like, what kind of
this?
Rubbish is this? Yeah.
Clicked on the link, and that was it for him. You know, thank God now, you know, they are trying to sort it out and everything. But I'm like, you know, it's very important to not, I think the message that the Holy Spirit was trying to tell me is, don't take pride in the fact that it can never be you. Like, let that not be your
kind
pride.
of never say never kind of thing. Because
so let it be that let it be you bragging on God, that God would help you, not for it to be, it's not because Ebun is like the saintest saint and that's why it can never be her. Like, once you have that mindset of it can never be you because you are like very holy or and very whatever.
If that person now falls, the person will not hide, because you're like, I've been putting myself on a pedestal, now I've fallen, like the fall will be bad, and you're like, I don't want people to know, so shame will now come. And that's the cycle.
That was exactly what happened in that again, Ashimadi is a real life story, by the way. That was exactly what happened to that guy. Like, he fell, you know, he thought it was over. Tried to hide it, but unfortunately, again, internet has receipts. You can't hide, and again, you can't even hide something for so long. One way or the other, it comes out in the open, and when it now comes out, it's not even more devastating. So again, it's like, so when, and you know, for Christians, it's even worse. Like, when if you do something,
you're put on the spot already. By the world.
It's like when something happens, I'm always like, now wow, you can never. This but again, and I'm not even trying to say that cheating, it's for me, it's a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker. But again, just reiterating the fact that it's not Ebun is so perfect that something like that cannot happen to her. It should be God help us to live our lives in such a way that we are looking up onto you, so that we don't even see all of these distractions that are happening. Because the moment you start saying, it's me, don't you know me, go and ask people about me, that's the very moment, that the enemy
strikes.
is waiting for you. Like, you think you sleep,
you think you're strong,
you think you sleep,
you think you're not made of flesh, but you're made of flesh. Let me tell you, I think this thing just reminds me of something that one mindset I had growing up. I'm sure I've said this thing before to you, and you know, in my mind, like while I was growing up, in my head, husbands were going to cheat on their wives. Like, that was my notion in my head. And tell me why. We had a family friend that the husband was always beating the wife. And it's really just me. I'm just like, so to me, just, you know, when you're a child, you absorb a lot of things, whether right and wrong. And to me, I was just like, I didn't even think I understood the concept of running away or something. And my own mindset was, my husband will cheat on me. That was my mindset. You know, and it took the grace of God. It took me getting saved to now understand that, okay, this is not how things are meant to be. And in my own, you know, I'm a very imaginative person. In my own, I'm like, if you like cheat on me, don't problem. But my own is that don't let me find out. because when I find out, I'll kill you. That was my own plan as I was young. So I imagine how old was I? Maybe a 12, 13 year old saying, if my husband cheat on me, I'll kill him when I find out. That kind of thing. And I had plans, like, trust me. So it took me getting saved and now realizing that that's not the will of God for my life.
Yeah.
And so it now took me like now unlearning that, okay, God has a perfect will for my life. God will not want me to enter this institution that he has created called marriage. And I'm going there with the mindset. If you're going there with a bad mindset or with a wrong mindset, let me not say bad, with a wrong mindset of my husband to cheat on me, then it's anything you see, you will take it. You will take it easily. But if you're going there saying, oh God, this is something you've ordained, this is something you've created, this is something that you want for my life, that you want me to,
and
that you want
cheating is definitely not part of it.
So why should I be expecting to see it?
Yeah.
So, I will literally say it took me getting saved for me to reorient my mind and say, okay, this is not actually the right thing. So, all these things about, I'm like, I will kill him, I will this, just things that you're thinking about in your imagination that I will do this, I will do that. But, things that you also see in your environment also builds up all these notions about you. And it takes the grace of God to change all these things about you. So, God will give us wisdom, honestly. God will give us...
Yeah.
But truly, you can't bank on your own self.
You can't. And that's why I'm saying that even apart from you even noticing people, even the filming industry, the entertainment industry has not made it any better. Like, it's just like how Nollywood will never paint a good mother-in-law. I saw a movie. I saw a Nigerian movie recently, and the mother-in-law was one advocating for it. I said, hey, it was so strange. I was like, I don't think I've ever. And before you know it, that nation is wired into a lot of ladies, and they're
people
like
saying that they're praying for their husband to not have a mother. They don't want to have a mother-in-law.
I've heard that too, and I'm so surprised because I'm like, I love my parents, and I know what my parents would do for me and my husband when I get married. So I can't imagine wishing that
his
the
own
person
mother,
that I will not get married to will not even have a mother.
I think,
but it's because of what we are seeing.
If we start with that, I think I'm even somebody that is very susceptible because I go online chronically a lot, and I get like, I can just see something and be like, I want to find out more about this stupid things, like, and I will go deep and I'll be like, And the funny thing is that I think I said this thing before, and I was saying that sometimes I can be very gullible because if you tell me something like this, I'll be like, hey. It's not as if I don't do my research, but sometimes it forms like the first, especially when it's not something about.
It's an impression.
Yeah, and so you now building. Go with that. You now go building. With that. So sometimes I remember I was saying one time about how I went into these conspiracy theories and things like that. I'm somebody that realized that when I start seeing, especially because I'm on Twitter a lot, and I started realizing, and if you're on Nigerian Twitter, you will see a lot of stupid takes. You see people that will just come and say one thing, and if you don't actively like filter what you look at, if you don't actively think about what you're saying, you will just find out that you're making decisions based on what you saw, even if you just saw it and you scrolled past. So you'll not be having some impressions like, oh, it's the way this thing was trending one time, men has come. Sometimes you just say, men has come. Like, where did they actually come from? What have you experienced that will make, like, maybe you don't have any experience,
but
you
just a joke. I remember my dad telling me something about distant relative.
Your dad telling you about what?
Like something about a distant relative. The man did something very, I don't know, he did something shy. Then I was like, I didn't expect this from this person, because I mean we know this person, we grew up with this person. We're also a person. I'm like, what's happening? Like, I was like, now what for this men? That's what they used to do. But I laughed. I said, wait, hold up. Are you not talking to a man? But yeah, obviously I didn't mean that all men, but it's just something that
you've picked up and you just
say like, oh, men has come, like, some of these men has come home. I was like, what do you mean by that? But yeah, maybe again, God give us grace.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that we'll have people. Maybe we should look for people that have maybe been married for a long time, or have overcome their career, or just positive stories to share, because I feel
honestly,
like we have a lot of dysfunctional stories going around. It's just like in a movie, you almost always see people divorced. For every
people
movie
separated.
For every movie I watch, if I like a cast, I will go online and
check
and trust me, 90 over 100 of the cast are either separated or divorced. And I'm like, and maybe 1, 2, 3 marriages. I'm like, God. I'm like, okay, so even again, just like you said, all these things build up on your perception about how life should be. A Nigerian woman, for instance, grows up watching Patience or Ozoko as a nasty
as
mother-in-law,
a wicked mother-in-law,
and would never, and even if the mother-in-law is even good, but the notion that you already had about
mother-in-laws
is not going anywhere. And I remember last year when I was trying to, I think it was also during this period after graduation, and I was just trying to, be quiet and listen to some of the things that I also had to work on myself. And one of the things that, the Holy Spirit told me to do was read about all female characters in the Bible. So I started with Esther, obviously my name, and then I got to Ruth, and I read about Ruth and Naomi, and I'm like, I can imagine what this would look like in a Nollywood movie, and Naomi was basically Ruth in quote savior. Like Naomi was that person that God basically just used for Ruth. And I'm like, what if in a normal setting you'd be like, Naomi was like, the husbands have died though. Even if I have another child tomorrow, we can't wait until like 20 years. And one of them said, okay, bye bye, we'll see later in the future. Another person said, no, I'm following you. I'm like, hey, Ebolua, if something like that, God forbid, something like that, will I be saying I will follow you everywhere you go? But that was like, that was basically the lesson that that God was actually really teaching me. Because it's like if you read about Esther and you understand what Esther did, it's like even as a female, God has a purpose for you, and Esther was the star of the show.
Are you talking about Esther now? You're talking about Naomi and Ruth just now?
Yeah, I'm just talking about the different female characters. So you talk about Esther, read about Esther. I'm talking about like what God was trying to teach me.
I get what you're saying now.
Esther, you see Deborah, you see Abigail, you see Ruth. Ruth was marriage and relationship and all of that. Esther wasn't a marriage, but she had a purpose, right? And she carried that out. Look at Deborah, the fighter, the warrior. Look at is it Philip's daughters now that prophesied. So it's like for every stage of your life, there's actually somebody in the Bible that you can actually emulate. At that time I stopped. I wasn't watching any movie or whatever. Like I was literally reading, and I'm like, I want to learn, because I know my life is not just to be here. There's a purpose why I am here. And then God is saying, look, there are examples of these people that have done it. So you won't be the first and you won't be the last. So take some lessons from these people. And that was a very, very powerful moment in my life. So these days, I'm like, okay, I don't want the world to describe or put some perception of how something should be to me. But I want to learn more from God and from the examples that he has given on how something should be.
I think that what you said is just very powerful, because I think a lot of times too, sometimes we tend to think that we are the first people that are going through some certain things that are happening in our lives. And this will just be like a challenge or an encouragement to everybody and even to ourselves that we should actually look to the word. Because, there are sometimes when you are doing some Bible reading and you just see some things and you're like, it will be like you've never seen it before in your life, or you are suddenly picking things from it and you're like, people were going through things. People were going through, like, okay, it's just that now we have phones, we have Twitter, we have Instagram and everything, but everything is literally a replication of the things that have happened already. So it's just amazing to see that God already knew all these things ahead of time, and it's like, okay, you have something that you can reflect on, you have something that you can make reference to. Even all this talk about mother-in-law too, it just reminded me of how people also say that, I don't know if you've seen it, I think it's something that is very prevalent on like Black American Twitter and everything. They talk about how in marriage the father side of the family is always the bad side of the family and the mother side is the cool one. And I'm like, where do these things come from? Because when I start thinking about it, I have a brother and I'm not imagining his own family. They'll not be thinking about the bad ones, and in my head I'm like, we are cool, like we are good people, we are fun and everything. But imagine them having that notion of the bad side of the dad side of the family is the bad one, the mom side of I'm like, where do these things come from? And a lot of times it's like it's people ourselves that are reiterating it, like maybe. And again, sometimes it also stems from maybe during the period where the women were always the ones at home, the fathers would go out. So if the mom is around, your sisters can come around. They're the ones you meet. You don't really meet the father's siblings or families or things like that. So it's easy to have that notion that those people are closed off and things like that.
And again, it's as a man, right? Again, these are just perceptions that are woven into our DNA. As a man, they feel, you are back should then. Be. Some people still have that notion now for some unfortunate reasons. They'll be like, the man is the owner of the home. So even the man's sisters or siblings in code to be like, are you not the man of the home? Like, why would you want your wife to be doing like this to you? So if the wife tries to do, I mean, I've seen cases where, the husband siblings are trying to be the one running the home, and then the husband is just there watching all of them, and they're fun. So people have, again, it's just at that time the woman is supposed to be at home and the man is supposed to be running things, which also now translates to the man and his family running things, and then the mother is just there telling the children that see what they are doing today. See what they are doing today.
And again, because the women are the ones that are staying with the children naturally feel closer to the women, like closer to their mothers, I mean. So it's very easy for them to, it's not as if I'm saying like, oh, maybe they are doing it on purpose, or some people might be doing it on purpose, but it's very easy for the children to quote unquote side on, like to be on the mother's side, and then the fathers don't feel like, oh, the children love him or whatever. So things like that.
So
I also remembered one, but the thing just eluded my mind again now. No, but we can go on. Go on.
I think the my own take from this is going to be, look, don't let the world define what some things should be. Again, Jesus not died for you to come and be staying in an abusive relationship.
Honestly.
So, and even like for single people, waking up every day and having crazy ideas. You're not even married, you're already having crazy notion and perception of what your marriage will look like or what your mother-in-law should look like. I feel like the solution in quotes to that would be, what are you speaking? And even if you're thinking about it, tell God that, God, see, these thoughts that I'm having should not be. I know that your plans for me are good and not of evil. And crazy mother-in-law will not be that. Wake up every morning and confess, I will marry into a beautiful home. My husband's home will favor me. My family will favor me. My children, like literally these days I'm like, see, you have children or you know children. Sometimes I see some things that happen and I'm like, see, my children are born of God. My children understand they are taught of God. Like, I'm already saying all these things. So say what you want to see consistent. Like, imagine saying the same thing over and over again for a whole year. You start to believe it. So wake up in the morning and start saying things that you, and again, see, there are Bible references for everything. One of the things I started doing recently is looking at Bible. If you go to YouVersion, if you're looking
for anything, if you're looking for health,
go to mother-in-law. Search mother-in-law for real. Like,
it's true. You will see plans, you will see verses, you will see scripture readings. Yeah.
Like recently, I'm trying to get more knowledge about something. I have about 10 plans for this same thing that I'm going through. I just finished when I started another one of the same thing, but because I want to like keep hearing it over and over and over and over again, and before you know it, you just start to live.
It will be in.
You start to live in. Yeah, you start to live in that reality. So that's my own 2 cents about that.
I think one other thing I was thinking about too as well is the fact that you were mentioning how sometimes the man or the man's family will come and take over the man. I think another thing too that you also need to do is be watchful and be mindful, because I think it also starts from the relationship. It also starts from friendship. Yeah. If they can, like, if somebody does not know how to stand their ground, if somebody does not know how to set boundaries with people, yes, your family is your family, but are you able to say, okay, I want to do this thing, and you're not sweet, and you are okay, and obviously you're not just making decisions out of the blue, like, oh, I'm doing X, Y, Z. No, you've prayed about it, you know that, oh, this is the way forward for you, and then you're not sharing it with your family, and they're saying, I don't think, obviously nobody can have the same conviction as you. If you know you have that conviction and God has spoken to you about it and you are assured, go ahead. But when you now start looking at other, because again, obviously, as the way we grew up as Nigerians, community is very big for us, and family is one of the biggest parts of it. But there are also times that you need to be like, this is something that I know God wants for me. Yeah. So like, other outside influences in this situation, your family is not going to stop that. Yeah. So we also need as a lady, as a guy, whoever you are, like, have that conviction. And it's when some men don't have those boundaries, or when they don't know how to take those actions. That's why you see some people having some situations or talking about how, the sister came and was shouting on me and Kiniko. Yeah. How can they be shouting on you in your own house? Situations like that.
The power that the husband. The thing is,
that's it.
I tell people that the way you treat, for instance, the way you treat your parents, for instance, the way you talk about your parents with me is the way I see them. So if you come here and tell me about how, I remember I was very young, I was making my hair one day, and then there was a girl selling plantain, and she passed by where I was making my hair, and I think somebody said, something about father, like, oh, how is your father, or something like that, and the lady was like, oh, that very stupid man. I was so shocked. I was like, where was somebody refer to? But the thing is, the way she talked about it, if I see that man outside, I'm seeing him as a stupid man.
He's a very stupid man.
So yeah, the way for instance, now if we are friends, right, before you came, I told people, oh, I have a friend coming in, and when you came, we were like, oh, you are Ebun's friend. Now if I tell people, oh, that girl,
hey, don't stay away. People already have,
and before you know it, people have that perception about you. Maybe it's now, maybe later, they're not be like, you're not even that bad, but initially they already have. So the way you treat people that are close to you is the way other people treat them. So if you are treating your own wife or your own husband as that trash or that
people
man,
will treat him like trash
the exact same way.
People will treat him like that because you don't have respect. I think something that just came to my mind as well is just the fact that, there are even sometimes that maybe your siblings or your parents might even annoy you, and you want to vent and everything. I think one thing I realized is that people that are close to me, my family, my friends, you will not hear me saying a bad word. Even if we are fighting, let's say we are doing you will not hear me saying a bad word and say, Ebun, that stupid girl or something like that. Because to me, I feel like whatever it is I say, I always want to present the people that are close to me in a good light.
Yeah.
So this does not mean that you should not cover if somebody is being abusive or whatever. But I'm just saying when you're having maybe differences in opinions and things like that, and maybe you might be going through a tough situation, but I'm always like, I don't want you to look at this person in a bad light. I will say, oh, no, this person is good, but even if we are fighting at that point, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of people too don't also realize how you are also a reflection of people around you. What you say about people, it definitely gives people perspective.
And I think people act on impulse, right? And it's just very important that you think before you do certain things. Not just think of this thing I'm doing in the next 5-10 years. What would it mean? So because the thing is, say we are fighting now, and because we are fighting, the impulse of, oh, how could she do this? And again, for every fight, you are the one that is always right in your mind.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
You're not like, how could this person do this to me? Before you know it, you've told number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Now, even if you people now, and that's why there's this joke on Instagram that two couples, they were fighting, and you are not the one that advised the girl that to leave your boyfriend. 4 days later, they've settled that the girl that told you, is this girl that said we should break up.
One thing I will never do in my life, I will never advise anybody that is a couple. I will never advise anybody that is a couple. The one time I did, it bounced back on my head.
It bounced back on my head though. It's because people act on impulse. And see, nobody's saying don't seek counsel, because the other end of it is whatever happens to you, don't seek counsel. That one is different. But when you are seeking counsel, be careful in how you portray what happened. I remember I was talking to a very close friend about something, and she was like, oh, so something's happened to so person, and then she went on consistently bashing the person's boyfriend or whatever. And I'm like, wait, hold up, you've only heard one side of the story, right? I know this person is not a saint. And I know that there's no way this person does not have fault in everything you're saying. In every situation, you are the person that is giving you the story is the right person.
And again, because you're that person's friend, you also want to be on that person's side.
Yeah. And I'm like, look, there are two sides of a story. Sometimes there's even it's usually two people are wrong. That's the thing.
Sometimes it's
miscommunication. Although sometimes one person is wrong and one person doesn't have sense. Sometimes. But a lot of times, it's two people are, wrong. But when they are telling you the story, they will tell you from their own perspective. And
they will paint how they were feeling.
How exactly, especially
and
if
how
someone
they also
tells
inferred the other person's actions.
Yeah.
So the person might have just been saying, I don't care, but you're like, the person, if you see the way he told me, no, we add Jara to gist.
That's the thing. But at that point, now you've said it out. You've created a perception in somebody else's head about how this person is a total douchebag. And maybe the person is not. But in your own head, now you've created problem for somebody else who will never stop seeing the other person as a douchebag. So again, sometimes we just act on impulse. When something happens to you, the first thing to do is not to say, if there's anybody that you want to say nonsense to, say to God. Report to God all the things that your mind. Sleep, wake up the next day. Now, if you now want to talk to somebody about it, you feel better. And the way you talk will be different. It won't be the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same with the same thing. No. Actually, I think the reason, if you ask any of my, I don't even know if my siblings remember. If you ask my parents, they'll tell you that when I was a lot younger, I was very hot tempered, which is very funny because I don't think I'm somebody that you look at and you're saying, oh, this person is hot tempered. But my anger comes in bursts. Like when I'm angry at something, it comes up and it dies immediately. So, and I realized, I think it was even like as I was growing up or whatever, like this is not like growing up young or like a little bit older. I realized that when I do things with that immediate anger, it never works out well for me. Like even if I'm right or even if I was the one in the right, me acting immediately, I just never make the right decisions, or I don't make, or it's something that could have been done in a better manner. Then when I now reflect on it, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have said this, or maybe I shouldn't have done this. And I also think that my mouth is a mouth of like, quote unquote, I don't have bad mouth in the name of Jesus, but my mouth is bad. So like there might be certain things that are happening, and I always tell people that anything I'm saying, this is probably not the first thing that came to my mind. I've probably thought about one thing, we thought about it, and I said, okay, this is what to be good to hear outside, or this is what to be good to say. So when I'm thinking about things like that, if I now act on it immediately, it's very likely that maybe I will say something that is very out of pocket, or that you'll be like, how will you say this kind of thing to me? So, when I realize that, your anger is not a good anger. And the truth of the matter is that once I've ranted like this now, maybe you might be the person, I'll just say, this is, the minute I'm done, that's it. The next day I'll be like, why was I even angry? It should not be a big deal anymore. So I think a lot of times too, you need to be slow to speak. And be, what is it, the other one?
Quick to listen.
No,
there's one that is slow to anger and slow to speak. And
I don't know what it is. But I know that you just slow down. I think if that's my word for today. Like slow down especially when you are angry. Like be very, what is it?
Yeah, slow to speak and quick to listen. James 1:19. So
be slow to speak, quick to listen, because a lot of times, especially when you are hearing or when you are asked to give people advice or give people counsel, it's very easy to say. And again, sometimes too, I think it also depends on your relationship with the person you're talking about. I think if you know the person, sometimes you know that the person just wants to vent, and the person is not looking for, the person knows the right thing to do or the right action to take. The person just wants, like for me now, situations like that, the first thing is that I'm just looking for who to vent to. I'm just looking for who to just say, can you imagine? And after that, that's all. I know that, okay, I'm not supposed to maybe speak out in anger to that person. So if you know the person and you're like, okay, this person just needs a listening ear. This person does not need rationality at that time. It doesn't need to not say, oh no, Omo-Olorun, don't talk like that. I will talk like that. I will talk like that at that instance. No, because I don't mean it. Like, it just needs to come out and then it's gone. Once it's out in the air, it's gone. But you know the times when somebody just needs to rant, the time when somebody needs actual counsel, and you're like, okay. And I think it's also good. There was somebody that posted and said sometimes you need to ask people. I think the person was joking about how I think it's a boyfriend and girlfriend. They were saying when you're telling her things to do, she'll be like, don't tell me, whose side are you on? Something like that. So the person, somebody now responded and now said that I think the best thing to do when you're talking to ladies is that ask them, do you need the logical advice
or the real
emotional advice?
Give me the emotional advice, I beg.
So if it's the emotional, I'll be like, I know that person is a big head, the person is a goat.
Blah, I beg, blah, blah. A lot of guys are not emotional in any way. That's the time that they'll be telling you, no, you should not do this. I'm like, I beg.
Like, no, you can't be talking about your boss like that. Hey, this guy, I don't know. Why am I calling you?
Yeah, so but I think it actually also, sometimes you also need people to, I think it's a balance.
True.
Again, know your friends, right? There's some people that, when you talk to people about them, they already carry your matter on their head, and they'll start hating people on your behalf.
I'm somebody like that.
They'll start hating people on your behalf, and they're like,
that is very personally biased.
But it depends, though. Like if I have an issue with someone now, and maybe it's a one-time thing, or like it's I need to talk to you about what this person did. That's different than if the person is constantly actually
doing the same thing over and over and again.
That one is different. Like if somebody is doing something to you over and over again, yeah.
I think you are the logical. I think I'm told you're the logical one, I'm the emotional one. Because it means you come to me and tell me something in my head, fire is already there. I'm like, what's that person's problem? Oh, like obviously I won't react to that person like that. But I'm the person that will give you ginger and say, no, that person. Like if you're ready to bash somebody, I'll be there saying, yeah, because I know that it's just maybe in-house or whatever. But like,
yeah, if it's in-house, if it's just
I know it's just, and I know that you just want to like just talk and I'm ready. I can rant, I can do all that. But again, I think I also, because I know the kind of person I am, I also try and make sure that what you are saying does not also affect the way I look at the person. So it's just like you said, if it's like over and over and over again, I'll be like, this person must have a problem. You know, things like that. So it's just really real. It's just really real. And
yeah,
a lot of
friendship fights is a very funny thing in such a way. It's like, I think somebody was saying, oh, if you are fighting with me, you're fighting with all of us.
No,
like you're fighting with my friend, you're fighting with me. Because another thing is, okay, let me ask you a question. What's the difference or where's the line bound between loyalty and let me explain myself. Okay, so for instance, you are loyal to your friend versus you are a
just
diplomatic person, or you are okay, let me explain what I'm trying to say. So for instance, now say somebody hurts your friend and your friend comes to you and be like, let me tell you what this person did. This person did this to me. And then I've told you that this person did this to me. Maybe the person that now did something to me now
I'm
comes
not gonna
to
be laughing
you.
with the person.
Yeah, you now go and be doing
No.
now. Two things, you know, if you say two things now, number one, what somebody says to you should not affect your perspective of the person. But
no. But again, I think I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But again,
so where do you draw the line?
No, let me tell you where I draw the line. I think I draw the line when I know the kind of person my friend is.
Okay.
So if I know that you're a very level-headed person, like obviously all our friends, they like to think everybody has different personalities. Let me put it like that. So if I know that you're a very level-headed person and you come and say something to me and you're my friend, I will take your side.
Okay,
I will take your side. I will not really kiki with that person. Even if I kiki with that person, you will know truly that I'm just doing it for like, let's not be like, I'm like, I will even really be so kiki with the person. But if I know that you are somebody that is an unreliable narrator, that sometimes your story they jail because I've seen it before. And you're my friend though, I will pause and question and say what's going on. So that's when I now become diplomatic, because I'll become diplomatic to you first and say, okay, what happened? The person might be thinking like this. So most times I don't try to imagine what the person is thinking. I become very diplomatic. I know that by myself. I'll say something like, okay, so what happened? This. What is it? Could this person have thought something else? Things like that. And that's just how it is. I will also like a little bit I will still be personally biased in a way. I won't lie. I will still be wary of that person. But if I know that sometimes you say they add a fizzy to your gist, because really, if you know your friends, you know your friends. So somebody that is very level-headed and you tell me, I will fight. I will be on your side immediately. But the minute I know that you are like this one kind, I will first ask you so that I don't shoot myself in the leg too. Because just like you said, when you are fighting with somebody, you are always right. So they want to present the best version of it to you. So I'm like, okay, I will ask you some questions. Okay, what do you think we can do about this? And sometimes too, you even when the person is narrating the story, you might even see where they are at fault. And you'll be like, okay, think about this particular area. But I will still fight that person for you, but not like outwardly fight. But I'll be like, okay, look at this thing internally. Then outside too, we'll back up. But I feel like there's a very thin line between you just closing your eyes and jumping everywhere that your friend is jumping, because sometimes you also need to be careful. But I think if you know your friends, you should be able to discern that this one, I can jump with you. This other person, let's pause first. Let's think about it before we jump. That kind of thing.
And is this person always complaining about everybody? Because there's some people that
so it's like, oh, you've complained about A, you've complained about B,
somebody will
like, you yourself go, you're the problem.
I agree.
But I think another angle to this particular question that you asked is now when you are friends with both people. Like, and for example, you know that, let's say for example now me, you, and let's say there's a third person here, and I tell you that, oh, you are friends with two of us equally, and I now tell you that this person did something to me. So what, and maybe in this instance now maybe I'm right, or maybe from what you've heard from what I said, I'm the one that is in the right and that person is in the wrong. How do you now take my pain on your head and now not interact with that person? Or how do you now handle relationships with that other person?
So if I have very good relationship, very good relationship with both people, I think it's very important that you at least have conversations with both of them. Except, and again, I don't know how three-way friendship works. I feel
hard.
like you are always biased to someone.
Yeah, somebody is always left behind, kind of.
That's just the reality of life. So realistically, you are almost always biased to one person than the other person. So, but the right thing to do is actually have at least conversation with both parties. Because I feel like I don't like it when I'm the reason why people break up.
In what sense?
So if I have the opportunity to, in quotes, mend people or mend their relationship, for instance, if two people are fighting, I'm automatically in the middle of both of you because you want to talk to me, the other person also wants to talk to me. So I feel like I should at least try my best to make both of you see reasons why there's no need. But again, human beings are very, very selfish. I feel like some people not capitalize on it and you'll be like, okay, I'm friend with this one, I'm friend with you. You know that feeling of, what? Like, I'm close to this one, I'm close to this one. You know that feeling of, I mean, they run things, that kind of a thing. I feel like people are very, very selfish.
True.
People want to be, again, I don't know how three-way friendship works because you want to be closer to somebody. You want to be closer to someone else. You want somebody to, how do I explain it?
I understand what you're trying to say. It's very dicey. It's very dicey. Somebody is always left out in certain situations.
That's the thing. And you don't want to be the one left out.
Yeah, it's never equal. It's never equal. So
I see people, you go behind somebody's back and try to have conversation so that you now be the one that's closer to the person. It's just a lot of stress.
It's not what it's. I think you can even. Three-way friendship is even very dicey to define because I don't know if you've seen this meme about three best friends but two are always at the same place then one is always far away. That's always the meme about. So I feel like it's always like that sometimes. So the problem comes when one person starts sharing with one person too much.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why one person is always left behind because you grow more friendship with one person and then the other person not be feeling like
not be feeling bad like and one person not trying to choke head. It's not like person is intruding. Well, it's a very friendship, especially when it comes to female friendships. They're not the easiest.
I remember, I think I was watching somebody's vlog yesterday and the person was like, that she housed somebody in her house and she had a friend already and then she not housed somebody. At the end of the day, they became best friends. She was not the one that was. It has happened to me before.
That is painful because why am I introducing you to somebody and you are now becoming friends behind my back?
Our friendship horror stories.
No. Actually,
we should.
I feel like friends we get jealous very easily because it's like why are people having inside joke with each other?
Because you want to take possession. You're like, I know this is my friend.
I knew this person is my friend. Like shift. Always when you knock on the person, you will not be laughing together and they'll be like, what is so funny? Like where exactly are you laughing? Like haha.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you've ever seen any situation where somebody's like, you know, when you are close to somebody, then you now see somebody else not trying to claim the person. Or just like for example, now the two of us are very close. We now see one Mr. A. The person will now post and be like, Ebun, bad guy. You finally announced it. I'll be like, what is this?
Maybe your problem? Maybe your head. The person is a very random person.
Very random ass person. I'll be like, who is this? And I feel like sometimes people that want you to retaliate. I'll be like, you will not catch me. I will not retaliate. I was like, forget about it. Because I think something even happened very recently. I don't know what happened, but I think it was, I can't remember what happened. But I know it had something to do with a very random ass person. I think he posted, I think there was a picture of Tunchi. So you posted it. I think maybe Tunchi sent us that picture that time or something. You posted it. Then the person just came out with one quote and I'm like,
one quote as well.
As in like, you know when somebody posts something, no, I think it was you that sent us the picture or something like that. Then you know how you send like a picture and I'll post it and be like, fine girl, Tunchi will post it. So you know came out dazzling. I was like, who are you? First of all, like, where are you coming from?
Or I think the one that is even worse is say the two of us are close now and then maybe something that happens to you, one third party.
I'd be like, hey, did you hear that Omo-Olorun something?
He's not telling me. I'm like, wait, hold up. You said what? Like from where now? Like, okay, like maybe. Okay, anyway, this one is even extreme. That maybe I'm getting married. You never know. No, not gonna tell you from outside.
You know that part in the marriage where they are doing. Does anybody have anything?
Say this is not real.
This is not.
No,
like
you're all getting pranked.
You're all getting pranked.
Yeah, it can be very funny.
I feel like we've talked a lot today. What would be your, like in all these things that we've said, I know we diverted and we went to a lot of topics, but in all these things that you say, like what do you think would be your daily dose of EO for today?
My daily dose of EO is something that has been coming to my head recently, and it's share your story. I think last week in church, that was also what was preached. It's like a lot of times, when we pass through things and we come out of it, or when, even if something good is happening to you, you should share it so that people can, have at least, there's something good out there happening, or people that are passing through similar stuff can learn from it. So I'm hoping that even from this podcast episode, you're also learning something and not just laughing, and hopefully you're also learning something as we also share our stories in coming episodes too. I'm hoping that someone can learn something, but your story is not too small. Your story is not, because a lot of times I feel like, we're always looking at it like, and people also have bad mouths. Maybe you just went to NYS and it's like, NYS, we've all done it now. Ooh, I don't understand. And
like NYS that she will scrap.
Somebody say NYS that she will scrap, and that's the person's story, and that's her story, or that's his story, or maybe you just bought the cancer, like you bought the 2012 car, so what?
You even bought it's even plastic.
It's like, I started something. I feel like I think we are bad human beings generally. We badmouth things a lot, so much so
it's very easy for us to badmouth it.
People are afraid to come out, but I think the more people share their stories, one way or the other, we are also contributing our quota to the world. So if you have any story, that you want to share to someone, to encourage someone, my daily dose of EO is be an encouragement to someone from your own life stories. So please share your story more. Whatever is happening to you, share that. Even if people badmouth you, that's your business.
I think even when you take this podcast as an example, I don't know if you saw, maybe you didn't experience it, but even when we started the podcast, I kept on seeing things related to how there were too many podcasters out there. Like people out there, too many podcasts, blah, 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 blah. Remove the mic.
And I'm sure somebody in their mind will be like, this one's this has come. I'm sure.
Yeah, so, like what you said, like this is our own story and this is something that we are proud to share. And we started it at the beginning of the year and we were very excited about, filming our first episode and recording our first episode. And that was like our big wins at that time. But, for people who have been podcasting for like 3 years, maybe they're on episode 1000, it's like, you just started or something.
Yeah.
Or even the ones that were saying there are too many podcasters, there will always be the naysayers, right?
Yeah.
But like, share your story to encourage somebody, like you said. And I think my own daily dose would just be like what I said earlier, like, learn to speak slow, especially in times of anger. Like, be slow to speak and be quick to listen, right? You should never actually act on your first impulse when you're angry or when you are arguing with somebody. It never ends well most of the time. You never make the right decisions. You never make the most level-headed decision that you'd have made if you had actually slowed down, if you had actually thought about and rethought about the words that you were saying. So, the people that you actually argue with or you get into fights with are people that you are close to, because those are the only people that can really push your buttons. So you don't want to now, after you've built such a good relationship, at the end of the day, you now end up saying something that can destroy it, right? Or something that will cause like irrevocable like harm or danger to it. So so be an encouragement, be slow to speak, be quick to listen. And I think this will take us to the end of today's episode. Thanks for catching up with us, guys. Really enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to share it. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to follow us on whatever podcast platform that you are on. And just another FYI, we're now on YouTube. Like, you can listen to us on YouTube Music. So make sure that you share it with your friends. Follow our social media. Follow our social media content so you can see all the things that we're up to date on. And that is it. So
alrighty.
See you guys. Bye.